good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night, depending on what part of the world you are in. Again, this is your co host, Sylvia Lieutenant Robertson, zooming into your homes as usual on Sunday. And I always repeat myself by saying it is such a pleasure coming into your homes and spending a little time with you guys because, of course, as you know, everybody is in house and very few of us are going out there. Even though some of our people are defined and they're still going out there when some of the states are closed. But I hope everybody's staying safe with this COVID pandemic that is still going on. The social distancing, or like Reverend Pam calls it, physical distancing has to be practiced at all times. Of course, washing your hands as well. And when you sneeze, let's continue to sneeze in our elbows so that we don't sneeze in our hand and then having to touch other people or avoid touching our faces. I'm very prone to doing that myself. Well, again, welcome. I have my our chair lady, Reverend Pam Fomunung, also is online. And of course, we're waiting for the host, Mr. Asonglefac, who will be joining us shortly. Today's topic actually is a very, very fine topic that is practiced in every home. Now, this topic is cook your own food for $10 and feed a family of 10. Can you believe that? Well, guess what? Today, we're going to be talking about the simple, very healthy, delicious, scrumptious recipes that you can use for your families without having to break the bank. Can you believe that with a bag of rice, a can of beans or a bag of beans, and maybe a platter of chicken, one platter, one of everything, not two, but one of everything, can actually feed your family for two full meals, two full square meals, sometimes even three, depending on how big the bellies are. If everybody's belly is as big as mine, okay, let's say two meals. But if it's smaller than mine, then three meals. Because some of the children are going around with only one meal a day because parents are stressed in an instance where they're not working and money's not coming in. So instead of making our children go hungry, I'm not saying it's a wrong thing to do, but we got to do what we got to do. We have our illustrious chair lady who also proposed this topic because she loves to cook herself. And like I've always said, food when I needed some food that was deliciously cooked from home. So, with that being said and done, later on during our discussion, after we finish talking about our bellies, feeding our bellies, and how we can feed our families of 10 with $10, we're also going to be talking about our fundraiser, which has been rescheduled to September 6th. And the reason we've done that is because we have so many other people fundraisers that we're supporting and other initiatives that are being done that we didn't want to seem like we were in competition with anybody. So later on, we will be talking about our Operation Borehole 55, which is a very dear topic to each and every one of us. So with that being said and done, let me welcome, first of all, our Reverend Pam so she can say something while we wait for our host. Reverend Pam.
Thank you so much, Madam President, Sister Sylvia. Thank you so much. We hope Nia Song is okay, but I am really excited because we're going to be talking about our upcoming event. I see one of our regular participants probably having technical difficulty. She's come in twice and dropped, so hopefully she will get her technical issues fixed. This topic we're talking about. I actually shared a video I did, I think it was in April, when I felt this need about teaching people how to cook their own food from home. We know even though a lot of states have reopened, some of them are putting in strict restrictions, especially with restaurants. You know, our people need to learn how to cook food. You know, and it's even healthier to cook your own food because you know what you're putting in your mouth. You know, you go to a restaurant. I'm not bashing restaurants at all. I do go to restaurants myself, but during this pandemic, I am not. I can tell you that. And even most restaurants are still shut down. Some of them is only carry out or take out. So it's expedient that our people learn how to cook their own food. And we're talking about, you know, feeding your own family for $1 per person per day. People think it's more expensive to cook. No, it's more expensive to eat out. So sharing simple recipes, whether it's rice or beans, you know, or spinach, those type of things. You can get a 2-pound bag of beans for $1 and maybe a can of tomatoes for $1 and make a whole big pot of rice. I shared a crayfish rice recipe. For those who are not from Africa, crayfish is like the tiny shrimps, version of shrimps. You don't have to use crayfish, you can use shrimps, with a little palm oil, onions, salt, and if you like pepper, put pepper in there. I am telling you, it is delicious. So check out the video. It's on the Cook Your Own Food in our Facebook page, or it's being shared on our Facebook page at Africa Online TV. That's our Facebook page. You can also go to our website, which is being updated right now, and there's a link there to our Facebook. So we want to encourage you to zoom in, to dial in, and share your own recipes to help somebody. I am actually going to pull the Zoom ID. I don't want to say it off the top of my head and miss a number, but the Zoom ID is 514-199-854. So zoom in, join us, and share your recipe. Over to you, Sister Sylvia.
Yes, like the chair lady said, zoom in and share your recipes. If you already have videos that you have already made of yourself cooking or preparing any type of meal that we can quantify and say it's worth $10 and can feed 10 family members, in other words, $1 per individual or $1 per person, please share with us, because that is our topic for the day. With this COVID-19 staring us straight in the face, a lot of our lifestyles have changed. There's a lot of stuff that we were used to doing that we can't do no more. Look at going outside. The children can't even play the way they used to play tug of war, wrestle, whatever outside there, because we're afraid. You don't know who the COVID carrier is. It could be my child carrying the COVID, and when he or she goes out there, he's probably contaminating. Asonglefac is coming on. Our host is coming on in a few. So we need to also continue remembering that our bellies also are a very intricate part of our lives, where we are being fed enough food so that we have enough sustenance to do that which we have to do on a daily. We have things to do, we have work to do. Some of us are still working and some of us not. With that being said, I believe our host has come on. Asong, is he on?
Yes, he
Just
is.
give me a minute.
Okay.
Give me a minute, please. Just keep talking.
All right.
Just keep
All
talking.
right. Evelyn is on. Evelyn is
All
on,
right.
but she needs to unmute herself.
All right.
Yes.
That being said, our host is getting himself ready to come on the screen, so I'll just continue with what I was saying. So in other words, my advice is that for those of us who are stretching the dollar, if you get, let me just share a very simple recipe that I just have for myself. You get a whole platter of chicken breast, because I believe chicken breast is one of the most, the cheapest chickens platters. They usually come with about maybe 8 to 10, sometimes 12, depending on how big the thickness of the chicken breasts are. If you take that chicken breast either in the morning or the night before, thaw it out, make sure it's really, really thawed out, real good. Take it out and then get whatever spices you like, so to speak. All the powdery spices that you like, put them in a container, blend them, mix them together with salt. And like Rev said, those of you who like pepper, if you're African like some of us, our tongues are already burnt out with that pepper anyway. If you love pepper, add that pepper to it, then add a smidgen of olive oil, enough just to mix all those ingredients that you have together. It should not be a soaking, but enough oil so that when you mix those ingredients that you have put together, you're able to dump the, how you call it, the chicken breast in there. There's no coating on it, okay? Remember, whatever spices you put in that little bowl with the olive oil is what's going to season that breast. When you take that breast now, after it's been nicely seasoned, you put it on a foil pan. Take your oven to about 375 degrees, 375 degrees. Let me repeat, 375 degrees. Put the shiny side up of your chicken breast. Lay the chicken breast flat on that foil, on that flat pan, preferably a flat pan, not a deep pan, but a flat pan. Then put it in the oven for 20 minutes. If the breasts are thicker, you can go to 25 to 30 minutes. But normally, if they're very thick, slice them half so that it's not too thick. Otherwise, it comes out really hard. Now, once you do that and you put it in the oven, after 20 minutes, test it. Open it up and just take a knife, cut a little piece and see if it's still oozing blood, put it back. Like I said, it all depends on the thickness. But the maximum you can cook that chicken breast is 25, 30 minutes. Then you cook a pot of rice. My rice is very simple. I like to use Saison. 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Put it in a rice cooker because I don't know how to cook rice without a rice cooker. It always comes out soggy. It comes out like porridge. It comes out like pudding. So the rice cooker is my safety catch. Once you put the rice in the pot, put a Saison packet, put a little bit of salt or whatever, pepper again, if you need to put black pepper, whatever you want to put in there, 2 tablespoons of oil, cover it up, let it cook according to what size your rice cooker is. Presto, voila, you have yourself a meal. That meal is actually $5.75. $5.75. The total. The garlic is $1 from the dollar store. The chicken was $2.50. The rice I think was $1.75 because everything was on sale. Then of course the spices are already in the house. I can't remember what they were, but whatever you have. So on that note, let me move on to our host, Mr. Asonglefac. Are you ready?
I am ready. Good afternoon. Thanks for being there and for taking control as always. This is me out here in Bowie, Maryland. It's 92 degrees hot out there. I just came from out there because I had to see off some guests that came visiting. So here we go. I know that is a big lesson about cooking, but you will hear in this editorial what happens to Asonglefac and Nkemleke. So please, let's go. Ayumi Komora tells us, cooking is about creating something delicious for someone else. Greetings, therefore, and welcome to the show. We will be talking cooking, your own food, and recipes, and sharing your own recipes in today's edition of Africa Online Media Corporation's live broadcast, as you already heard Sylvia say. But first, some reminders. Today, July 12th, is the 194th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar. So we have 172 days left until the end of the year. And of course, in the United States, people are anxiously waiting for November 3rd. I won't say what will happen on that day. Back in history, on this day in 1679, all of us were not born at all. Britain's King Charles II ratified the Habeas Corpus Act, allowing prisoners' right to be imprisoned to be examined by a court. On this day in 2013, Malala Yousafzai, that Pakistani activist and youngest ever Nobel Peace Prize recipient, he was incidentally born on July 12, 1997, she addressed the United Nations and called for worldwide access to education for all women. Wolfgang Puck tells us, and we quote, cooking is like painting or writing a song. Just as there are only so many notes or colors, there are only so many flavors. It's how you combine them that sets you apart. And so let's also go to the East. Lao Tzu brings us this Eastern flair to what we are talking about today. Governing a great nation is like cooking a small fish. Too much handling will spoil it. Just listen, let's go on. We'll introduce our topic this week. This is how we introduced it. Do you cook your own food? Whatever answer we come up with in our discussion today, I will quicken to say that I listened to some lady whom I met online, well, not physically, not virtually, but I just read her stuff, Neda Varbanova, she's an online certified nutrition consultant, health and wellness coach, and fitness enthusiast, from whose Healthy with Nedi platform, I learned the following, quote, by cooking your own food, you will feed your body with the best ingredients possible, which will make you feel healthier, more energized, and lighter. This doesn't mean, she cautions, that you need to stay home and cook every night. No, but it does mean that you need to be prepared when, and I hasten to add, if you venture to try to cook, really be ready to cook. To get back to our opening question, do you cook your own food? I will hurry to tell you my own answer is no, I do not cook my own food. After cherishing my mother's cooking for a long time, I lived on my own for 4 years only, cooking what I ate. But for several years now, for dozens of years, Reverend Pam will want to say for ages,
100 years.
I have been fed by more than that lady. I've been fed only by that lady who has become part of my life for as long as I have lived and breathed. That is minus the years in my mother's kitchen. Be that as it may, I will encourage everyone else to try developing and cooking their own food. Why? As Neda Varbanova, whom I quoted earlier, recommends, there are 6 things you gain when you develop and cook your own food. These are your ability, rather, to control the portions, that is, call it the quantities. I think Sylvia was talking about that. You control the quantities of what you cook and how much you eat. The calories, you control the number of calories you ingest. You control the ingredients you use. You control the budget, your budget, especially in these lean cow years, and your ability to bring the family together, as well as your ability to fight off cravings for those other things that may look so attractive, but may not necessarily be good for the body you want to live in. And cooking and eating is all about feeding yourself and giving yourself a particular shape. As that Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu cautions in the quote we used earlier, our overall purpose is to govern or hold in check the stresses and strains of this house of clay called our bodies, where we live in, because that is governing the great frame that is our bodies. If we overfeed that body or eat the wrong combination of stuff, we would damage or spoil our frame. So in order to keep our shape and maintain our figure in which we feel comfortable at all times, we should heed to Wolfgang Puck. As we said from the beginning, he cautioned cooking as he compared cooking to painting and to art. Painting and artwork, writing a song or poem, it is and should be so because there are only so many colors or notes and only so many shapes that we can combine to set ourselves apart. After all, hasn't someone noted that we are what we eat? If we are what we eat, we should be what we cook. And if we are what we cook, we should be what we eat. So Reverend Pam, I see you so reflectively listening in, but I know you're a great cook. Sylvia, I'm still to taste your cooking, but I'm not saying that you don't cook well. All the same, let's go on with the show. And Evelyn, I'm looking forward to that Sierra Leonean or is it Liberian dish that you are going to bring for the exhibition. I mean, what is it that we're going to have? Yeah, I keep mixing up my words. But Evelyn, welcome to the show. We missed you last week. Okay, over to you, Sylvia, and let's get the show rolling.
Yes, thank you very much. And thank you for that editorial. As always, you're always on point with your message or information to enlighten each and every one of us what's going on out there in the world. You're an excellent reporter, an excellent researcher, and of course, your narrative too is always amazing. Right now, since I've run my mouth quite a bit from the beginning, I'd like to have Evelyn Mafeni weigh in a little bit, then I'll revert to our chair lady, Reverend Pam. Evelyn, we're talking about cooking for $10 worth of food. In other words, we're feeding a family of 10 with our $10, meaning $1 per person. So what do you say on that? What recipe do you have for us, or have you found a recipe that you can share with us? You're on mute. There you go.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, unfortunately, truly, I didn't prepare for any talk on cooking with about $10 food, and I don't have recipes. Generally, I don't have recipes offhand. I need to say I have to cook and I start preparing the menu. So I really don't have a recipe as such, but I can.
Oh, you have grandma's recipe with you. Grandma's recipe is in your mind.
Yes. No, I just put things. I don't do measurements, so I will hardly be able to give a proper recipe.
Well, we don't use measurements. Neither did I. Like
exactly.
You heard my recipe. I say throw the stuff together. You know how much stuff you want to throw together, and the end result is what matters.
Yes.
Oh yes or no. But that's okay.
But here in Sierra Leone, basically for $10, what I'll do is I can get sufficient fish to feed about 10 persons for $10. We have fresh fish from the waters really fresh and really tasteful. And with $10, I can do some roast fish, can roast some fish, snapper or grouper, very good size,
Yum, yum.
and one, and that can fit a family. But what I do put in it is the usual ingredients, the usual ginger. My favorite is green pepper, black pepper, and the cinnamon. I just mix everything. I'm a spicy person. I take a lot of spice and I mix almost everything when I'm doing it, and I do it to my taste. So I don't have a specific menu for this evening.
Not a problem. All right, Reverend Pam, can you chime in on that one, since our sister says she doesn't have a specific recipe, but like I told you, sis, I don't cook, but I can set that chicken breast in that oven and it comes out real good.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. I know she knows how to cook, because when we were in high school, we visited her. She made these beans and granuts. I will never forget. I don't know if she remembers or not, but it was delicious. I'm talking about, it was pinto beans, but she also had blended granite inside. Talk about rich. Evie, you may not remember this, but you made that for us. It was delicious. So I don't measure anything either. On the video that I put out, the only reason why I measured the rice was to try to show our viewers that I was using 5 cups of rice, but I'm a freehander. Even when I bake, it's freehand. However, if you want specific recipes, you have to email us. You can send your email to info@africaonlinetv.org or cookyourownfoodnow@gmail.com. We will send you the recipes. But I talked about, crayfish rice, but even fried rice. This rice cooker is one of the best things that ever happened to cooking. Sister Sylvia, when we were growing up, there was no rice cooker, so we still need to be able to cook without a rice cooker.
Leave me alone.
No, I'm not. I'm not going to leave you alone. But when you cook stuff like a basmati rice or jasmine rice, it's 1 cup of rice to 1 cup of water. If you're using the parboiled rice that we Africans use a lot to make jollof rice, it's 1 cup of water to 2 cups of rice. And most bags of rice tell you the directions on the label of the bag. But I use rice cooker to even boil goat meat, to boil anything. So rice cooker is not just to boil rice, Evelyn is a physics instructor, but a lot of people don't realize that the rice cooker is based on the physics of matter. In physics, Evelyn can remind us if it's Newton's law or first law or second law, but the reason why your rice cooker cooks rice perfectly, once the water, whatever you're cooking in the rice cooker will shut off or go to warm from cook once there's no more water. When the water has changed from the liquid phase to the gas phase, the rice cooker shuts off. That's the mechanism of operation of the rice cooker. But you can use the rice cooker to boil plantains, to boil yams, to cook different things, even to make jollof rice. You put the stuff in there. So those of you who don't know how to make jollof rice, if you want to make a jollof rice, okay, Evie is putting her chat. You will share it on the air. You can put the rice in there, put onions, put salt, put maggi, and then put your tomatoes in there. It will cook, and then put the oil in. That's your jollof rice. It's that simple. Again, there are so many cheap recipes, and there's something we call corn chaff in Cameroon. Nigerians call it corn and beans. I don't know what they call it in Zambia. Sister Sylvia, you can explain to us. Sister Evelyn, when we're in CPC Bali, we had an instructor there from Sierra Leone, or he studied in Sierra Leone, and we used to call him rice eater because they eat a lot of rice. Rice is their staple.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Yes, in Sierra Leone and Liberia, they eat a lot of rice. There's so many things you can do with rice, but in that corn chaff, you can get a can of corn. I'm not mentioning any. I'm not going to mention any brand because we're not here to promote any brand either. So you can put get a boiled canned corn, put it in a rice cooker with beans, pinto beans or any other beans, and put crayfish in there. Or if you don't have crayfish, put onion, salt, a little bit of palm oil, and you have a whole meal. So I'm going to hand over, Evie, I'm going to hand over to Evelyn. Evie.
Yes.
Yeah, over to you.
Now for the rice, for the corn and beans in Kenya, we call it, in East Africa, we call it kijere. And it's I think kijere.
Oh, okay.
Like that. Yes, it's a lot. It's already mixed in a can. and we just buy it tomato sauce and put it inside the tomato sauce.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's really, really good in East Africa. It's a very common dish.
And it's cheap.
And
it's cheap.
yeah, and another common food we have is the maize. The maize. It's like maize fufu. It's also very common. Ugali. In East Africa, they call it ugali.
In Zambia,
some countries in Africa, they just call it a maize fufu. That is very common with a lot of vegetable. And you can get a good meal less than $10.
Good.
You can get a good meal for a family with less than $10 with different types of vegetables. It could be spinach, it could be greens, all the types of greens. There are all types of greens, but sometimes they like them without the beef. But in East Africa, we do it with the roast beef, nyamakoma.
Nyamachoma.
Yes, we do nyamachoma. They love it, so we do that with nyamachoma. But right now with the COVID, we really encourage people to reduce the carbohydrate intake and increase the protein. It's better to increase the protein. Even if you don't go for beef, but you can go for fish, you can go for beans, which is also healthy, and some vegetables, but not very many. The protein is good to increase protein level at this time now, so that I can boost your immunity.
Let me just jump in here, just a second. We're just sharing the cabbage fufu on our family forum, and my sister-in-law just made it. For people on the continent, you can make cabbage fufu. All you do is just blend the cabbage, drain the water out, use the chaff, and then because cabbage is gluten-free, so you need a binder. So you can use maybe a little bit of oat fufu to bind it, or you can use ogbono to bind it. It is delicious, and because we have a lot of people who have diabetes problem. So just Google cabbage fufu. Some people even have eggplant fufu. They make it look like amala. So our people now are becoming more health conscious. They are using a vegetable to make fufu. And of course, we all know about cauliflower rice, but there's cauliflower mash. I actually order that at a hotel. So you can use cauliflower to make mash instead of using potatoes or plantain. You can make it with mash. So basically, any of those vegetables that look like cabbage or cauliflower, I'm sure you can do it with squash or what do you call this thing? Eggplant. You just chop it, blend it, drain the water out, use the chaff, and you just need a little binder to hold it together, and you have your fufu. Over to you, Mr. Niason.
Thank you very much. I was going to interject there when Evelyn was speaking, and to ask all of us, when we talk of carbohydrates and proteins, what will that lady on the streets of Kidway or in the streets of Lusaka or in the streets of Freetown or Yaoundé or Douala or Bamenda, what would they understand by carbohydrates and protein? What are these if we were to break it down to the level of our people in Africa? You may take us.
Well, with the protein, I believe no, let me start with starch. Starch is easier.
Starch, yeah.
When we're talking about starch, right? When you're talking to an African woman like me, and I'm a typical indigenous African, and I'm in the village and I'm living there, I have my baby in the back, one in the back, one in the front, a bucket of water on my head, and I'm going to get some more water, some more firewood, right? And then you're going to tell me to say, well, the shima you're eating has got too much starch and you need to put more on the meat, on the goat meat or on the pig meat or whatever it is. The first thing she's going to tell you is that pig meat or that goat meat is expensive. So when you try to explain to say the starch makes you gain weight, I believe everybody understands that. Besides, if you're diabetic, like Reverend Pam just mentioned, it also elevates your blood sugar. Now, in Africa, like in Zambia, we call it sugar disease. I'm not sure what the rest of Africa calls it, but I'd like to believe it's the same thing.
In my tribe, we also call it sugar disease.
Okay, then it's everywhere.
I was going to ask about that.
Yes, so when you tell a villager, a person living in the village, to say this here will enhance your sugar disease or it will make your sugar disease worse, believe me, the understanding is just like the snap of a finger. They know it's detrimental to my health. Now, when we go to the meat area, the protein, I believe protein does not only come from meat. There are other sources of protein that we can get, but in a typical African setting, when you talk about protein, the first thing that jumps to our mind, especially back in Africa, I'm sure now we've changed quite a bit, but before, when I was growing up and I heard protein, I would always think about meat, the cow, first of all, the chicken, the pig, the goat, the sheep, and so forth. So when you go now and tell a person in the village, and especially now with this COVIDitis, like I'm calling it, you will find that a lot of people, since I'm saying the word we, collectively don't have the money to start buying all those expensive meats and what we're calling protein today. So in a layman's term, if you want to explain the difference between protein and starch, it's just by using the two examples that I use, because that's how I would, my grandparents were both diabetic. So this is how I would explain to them when they tell me they want more fufu or they want more shima or ugali. I said, nah, I can't give you more ugali, but I can give you more vegetable and more goat or more. And then they would ask you why. Then I'll tell them, no, this here is protein. It builds your muscle, builds your body, your immune system. But this starch is breaking down your body, too much sugar. And grandpa will look at me like she crazy. What do you mean sugar? This is just, corn. Little do they know that starch will tend to, is it lactose or fructose and, whatever sugar.
Glycogen and fat. Excess glycogen is fat.
Yes, that goes, once it's broken down into the body. So that's the best way that I would explain it if I had to explain to my grandmother or to my aunt, who's in the village, just for them to understand what it is.
Now, Sylvia, I know that in Zambia, one of the favorite foods, I think, had to do with corn, because I remember there was some strike at some time back in history, back in my young days, when I heard about Zambians quarreling over the quantity of corn that was available or not available. Mm-hmm. What is that not sugar?
Yes, it is. Actually, the corn that you're talking about, what happened was Zambia started exporting. Zambia at one time was like what I call a maize cash crop. We did quite a lot of, how can I call it, bumper harvest, so to speak. Like where you get so much of one product in the field. And of course, if you keep it in the country, it will all go to waste because the country already has enough to eat, right? So we're exporting it. I think it was to Malawi, is it to Zimbabwe? Zimbabwe or Malawi? I was very young then. I think I was about 9 or 10 years old. But anyway, one of our neighboring countries, as you know, Zambia is land linked, and most of our ports we have to go through other countries. So there was a time when Zambia exported more out of the country than they did leave for our own people. So the people started, I wouldn't call it a riot. Zambians are very passive people, and very seldom do they riot. Very, very seldom. You really have to push a Zambian for them, to come riot or demonstrate. A lot of times they always just ask for a peaceful, meeting with the people, the powers that might be, voice their opinion and stuff like that. Now, it's true. It is full sugar. That corn, like we said, is maize. It's maize corn. It's starch. Now, we get three things out of that cornstarch. One is what we call sampu. Sampu is like maize that is pounded, but not completely broken, but like maybe into little pieces. It starts to look like maybe 2 grains of rice put together. You boil that. Sometimes you can add sugar to it and eat it as is, or you add peanut butter to it and eat it. It's very delicious. The next one is what we use for nshima, fufu, ugali. That is 100% starch too. So when you're eating the maize corn, it doesn't matter in what form it is. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter in what form it is. Starch is starch. And it will elevate our blood sugar. Oh, by the way, it even enhances my backside and my front too starts to
Lord.
like a little blubber ball or little whatever shamu, So one just has to be cognizant.
It's not the food that did that to you.
Yes, it is.
You were not doing any sports. You were just sitting down and eating the food. You needed to be walking and running and jumping.
Yeah. But also there is something about maize. Mm-hmm. Maize is it's a bit it's better sometimes than rice. Mm-hmm. Most of the rice, because maize it doesn't only have starch or carbohydrate, it also has some protein, fiber, and others. Excellent. And most of the other starches like cassava, rice, they're heavy, high percentage of carbohydrate. So maize is a very healthy type of food for Africans.
Just don't eat much of it. Don't eat too much.
No, don't eat much, but it's better than rice. It's better than rice.
But
so given a choice, what you're saying is if somebody back home has to, even me right now, I'm diabetic, I'm pre-diabetic, like they say. So if I have to, I love my fufu, all right? I love my nshima, ugali. And that, is 100% corn, and it's 100% starch, so to speak. So if I'm not really a rice eater per se. So you're telling me that if I have to make a choice between the nshima and the rice, I should eat nshima?
Eat
Yes,
cabbage
ugali,
fufu.
a bit.
Neither one. You just heard about cabbage fufu on this show. You are not allowed to eat any corn, any maize. Cabbage fufu. Make it. You will love it. Cabbage fufu.
But it's not only for us. We need to consider kids as well, because we have children that need some of that energy. So
no,
when
the kids are okay.
For the
It's when we
household,
grow up, I think. It's when we grow up that it becomes detrimental to our health. So let me ask this. The fufus that I know are, we have fufu, like you said, amala. We have the one for the corn. We have the one for plantain. We have one for
cassava.
Yes, cassava.
Yam.
Sorghum as well.
Yes, sorghum. So but sorghum is healthier, right? Sorghum is
very healthy.
Sorghum and wheat. What about wheat? No,
it's not. Yeah, we do wheat as well. We mix sorghum and wheat.
But sorghum is the healthier one among all that I've mentioned.
And there's millet. There's millet.
Yes.
There is
millet is the brown one, right?
There's millet. There's barley. Growing up, I didn't eat all of that. I ate fufu corn, but I want to say back home, our people eat more of the starch and very little vegetable and very little protein. They should reverse it.
Yeah.
I know it's because of cost, but you can get your protein from beans. But let's talk about the advantages of cooking our own food, both back home and also in the diaspora. Because a lot of people, they go and buy food, even from fast food, they drive through. You don't know what is in there. You really don't know what they put in there. When you cook your own food, you know what you are putting in your own food. And to be honest with you, I mean, not against the Chinese people, but I don't eat Chinese food. I'm telling you that we've seen exposés, even on television, with people, the way they prepare stuff. I don't know what's going on with the cameras. Is showing Sister Sylvia, but she's muted, So what I'm saying is that when you cook your own food, you know what you're putting in there. You know that you wash the food well. You clean it. Personally, I was telling somebody, when I get stuff from the store, I wash it like I'm washing my dishes. I use Dove soap and wash it, and then rinse it out and use vinegar, distilled vinegar to clean it out. Wash your food, especially with the vegetables. Wash the leaves very well under running water. Please be careful, because you are putting it in your mouth. Let me hand back over to Sister Sylvia. Sister Sylvia, you're muted. You're muted. You're muted, Sister Sylvia.
Okay, sorry. I don't know what's going on here.
I don't know what's going on either. Go ahead, we can hear you.
Maybe the thunderstorm is coming because we have a thunderstorm watch out here.
Yeah, even here, you're right. I think that's what it is, because it's looking gray, very dark outside. Yes. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Reverend Pam. You were saying?
No. I was trying to say, you see, that's what I'm saying. I don't know what is going on, but it's showing you, Sister Sylvia, as if you're the one speaking. So I'll hand over to you since you've hijacked my camera.
You're all in Texas.
How did I do that? How did I hijack?
Proximity. You're all in Texas.
Yes, there you go. That's why we're fighting for space. Yeah. No, this is excellent news, to know about the alternative things that we can use, instead of eating starch, proper, where we can substitute for from the cabbage to the eggplant, maybe
cauliflower.
To the pumpkin and to the cauliflower and so forth. The whole point about cooking for ourselves is actually eating healthier. What I have realized is with my eating healthier, I've noticed that before, right, I would find my skin, especially my hands, would be very dry because I used to eat out a lot. I'm not a cook per se. I can cook very well, but I don't like the kitchen. I believe I put in my time when I was a wife and I was a mother to all my young children. Now I'm old, I'm a grandma. I don't have anybody to cook for per se. So you find that many a times it's like, I want to go to the kitchen. I'm like, oh my God, by the time I thaw this out, let me just go to whatever, and get myself some crabs or some shrimp and, I'm set. But like you rightly explained, we don't know what's going into that food as they prepare it. I'm not saying they're putting anything bad, but the measure, the portions of things that are going in there, plus the amount of fat, the sugars, the salts that are going in there. Some of them are a little bit too high for some of our bodies because we need to start regulating and controlling what our mouths take in so that it may not be detrimental to our bodies. When we cook at home, you are able to measure and see what you're putting in there. And you know it's clean because it's being cooked with your own hands. And even when you're preparing it for the family, for your family, they know that this food was cooked with love, number one. Number two, it is cooked in a very good, hygienic, clean, proper manner. Number three, you can be guaranteed of the best taste in the world. They always say mama's cooking is always the best, or grandma's cooking is always the best. So it is encouraged that we should learn. If we don't know how to cook, like we said, you can go to our website, you can go to our Facebook and start picking up these basic and simple recipes. And by the way, cooking is not only for women. And I'll repeat that, cooking is not only for women. Men too have to learn how to cook. Men too need to know how to cook. It's not always about waiting, oh, because I'm married, let my wife do all the cooking. Sometimes it's nice to give the wife a break also. Go cook, even if you're boiling just hot dogs or sausage and slap it on a bun, at least you'll feel, you did something. So all of us, it's imperative that we should learn how to cook so we can feed our families in the absence of one another. Reverend Pam?
Yes, Madam President, this may come to you as a shock. Most of the chefs are men. When you go to the restaurant, even back home, when I was in secondary school, the cooks were all men. I never saw any women. As a matter of fact, when I was, I think, 14 years old, we had a debate. I was a debate captain. We had a debate in, I attended an all-girls secondary school, and we had a debate in this grammar school, Manfe, Evelyn, I believe that's your alma mater. And so when the topic of the debate was a woman's place is in the kitchen. Can you believe that?
Oh, no.
No. That was the
topic.
That was the topic of the debate. And
our CFO is coming on, by the way.
Yeah, she's coming up, and Ambassador is coming up too. I think that's Lisa. So
yeah, Lisa.
Anyway, yes. let me finish what I was trying to say, then we'll give them some time. The topic was a woman's place is in the kitchen. Unfortunately for them, you know how the debate captain does the opening statement. So when we came there, it was a guy that served us snacks and drinks. So my opening statement was, I don't even know why we are talking about a woman's place being in the kitchen. I said, when we got here, it was a man that served us. So where were the women? The whole hall busted laughing. I said, there's no point even talking. And the guy who brought the food in, you could just see him put both of his hands on his head. And I said, even in this particular school, the chefs that cook for the students, are they not men? I said, in my school, Okoyong, all the men, the chefs are men. So what are we talking about? And that was just, so I said that to say that historically, I know in the household, most of the time is the women that cook, but there are actually more men chefs than women, and things are changing. So at this point, because we have 17 minutes at the top of the hour, where from the top of the hour, we're going to talk about, our event. So let's finish in 17 minutes. I would like to yield my time to the ambassador and to our CFO, Nia Song. So ambassador, you're welcome. If you want to unmute yourself, we're talking about the advantages of cooking your own food. If you want to unmute yourself, especially during this pandemic, we want to share cheap recipes. So I'm not sure where you're originally from. So let's give you the airtime and then we'll go to our CFO.
Well, praise the Lord. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. How are you all?
Wonderful.
Welcome.
I am from the city of brotherly love and sisterly affection, right here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, United States of America. Wish I was in Africa, but I'm home in America at the moment. I've been online to on Facebook, and then my phone started cutting up, so I had to come on live. I was sharing that one of my, I too am like my sister Sylvia. I cooked when I had a husband, when I had children, and I had not cooked, had not even been in my kitchen in almost 15 years. Didn't know what the room looked like back there because I just bypassed it all together. But now I've been retired going on 2 years now. And in the midst of this pandemic, I am in the kitchen and I am cooking twice a day, every single day. I am
awesome.
I'm a salad person.
Okay.
I love lots of greens. And I heard you talking about in Africa, we hardly ever eat greens, and that's true. When I go, they make greens special for me, and I'm like, that's supposed to be a major thing that you're eating, but there is no greens. There's just lots and lots of starches. One of my favorite recipes to make is white chicken chili. Now, you may be able to make it for less than $10 for a family, and it's definitely a winter meal. It's nothing that you want to eat in the summertime because it's hot.
Mm-hmm.
It requires, I use white beans, 2 cans of white beans. I use white corn. I try not to use, because corn and wheat are the 2 most genetically modified foods that we have.
Yes.
Entire food system. So I try not to use corn at all, but I do like it for color. So I use the a little white and yellow corn, maybe a can, and I'll use 2 small cans of green chilies and tomatoes just to give it that little spurk of color. And to keep on the cheaper side, I use white chicken breast in the can. Some hot sauce, my seasonings. McCormick makes a white chicken chili sauce packet so that it doesn't give it that red color. And it is absolutely amazing. It's healthy because it's not beef. It's healthy because it's chicken. The beans gives you some protein in addition to the chicken. So you do get some protein there. You're getting more proteins there. But that's something I love to make in the winter. I don't do it in the summer. Like I said, summertime, like now, I'm a big greens, cabbage, purple, lots of purple vegetables, because the purple vegetable is the vegetable that has the most nutrition and is most healthy for you. Everything else comes out of that purple vegetable. I've been on the market for some purple carrots because our naturopaths purple carrots to do this kidney flush and this spleen flush, and I've not been able to find purple carrots, but purple carrots are the original color of carrots. The orange that we eat have been mixed with sweet potatoes to make it the orange that it is. So we've been in this market trying to find some purple carrots. Yes. So I'm living clean and healthy because I intend to live a good life in my retirement.
Awesome.
I go back to Africa many more times, and I don't want to be sick in doing so. So I do thank you for your time.
Awesome.
Thank you, Ambassador. We also have an Umuduragu
That's Dr. Ogoji.
Dr. Ogoji.
Oh, okay.
Dr. Ogoji and Reverend Solange.
Hey, Reverend Solange, CFO, can you chime in?
Unmute yourself.
You muted, sis.
Unmute yourself.
Unmute
I'm
yourself.
talking to myself. Okay.
Yes, you are.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, I know today is about cooking food. As I said, I'm so cooked out. I've been cooking all my life. And recently I decided that, you know what, I don't want to be cooking anymore. But I'm someone that does not like eating out. So I like to cook my food. I'm a very picky eater. I mean, I have very few people that I will eat their food. So for that reason, I try to cook something, but now I cook very little because most of the time it's just me having to eat. And believe this or not, there's nothing as cheap as rice and stew or fried rice. I love rice. Even when I'm on a diet, I'll be like, does this diet exclude rice? Because if it does, I'm not going to do it. I have to eat rice at least once a week. And I tell everybody that I can cook rice in 50 different ways, 100 different ways, and it will come out good. But the easiest one I do all the time, I just come out from work, shrimp fried rice with mixed veg, and I'm good to go. I love grilled fish, and that's cheap also. You can buy fish, grill it for a family of 5, and you eat healthy with some vegetables. So cook your food, cook your own food. It's really healthy. And as much as I have cooked out, but I still cook my own food, and it's cheaper. Especially during this time of this pandemic where you're not sure of the food that's in the supermarket, and sometimes you run out of certain things. Cooking your own food will really save you money, especially if you're maybe 4 or 5 in the family. Eating out has always been a very expensive joke, but people do it anywhere. When you eat out a lot, believe me, you do not save money. Because going to any fancy, even if it's not so fancy restaurant, when you get the bill, you look at it, it's like, you know what, I could have used this money to cook for a week. So I think cook your own food, it's some innovation that a lot of people should learn how to do. So thanks to the pandemic, I'm sure a lot of people are learning to do that. Okay.
Now, Reverend Pam, last week or sometime a few weeks ago, you mentioned the goodness of palm oil. You want to address that between palm oil and all this oil, other oils we find around. Some people are even saying that olive oil is the best. So where are we headed to? Which contains the least danger?
Let me just say, olive oil is not healthy at high temperatures. It's healthy only when used raw.
Raw, yeah.
Palm oil, even Dr. Oz talked about it, and because of the show, the price of palm oil has gone up. Palm oil helps with plaque. But let me tell you this, oils have a lot of calories. If you're trying to lose weight, stay away from all of them. But before I want to yield my time to Dr. Ogoji, but I want to, I don't know what is happening today when I'm talking and showing somebody else. I want to acknowledge Ambassador Lisa. She's been busy on Facebook promoting our show and our event. Ambassador Lisa, I want you to know that did not go unnoticed. We appreciate it. We really appreciate you more than you know, and I'm glad you decided to join us today. But Reverend Solange, since you're a rice addict, Ambassador Lisa said that she's replaced her rice with cauliflower. So let's hear from Dr. Ogoji.
Oh, I can't stand cauliflower. Don't eat it.
Dr. Ogoji, please.
Yeah.
Dr. Ogoji.
Well, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So I also am a great cook. My mom used to own a restaurant in Babinda.
Really?
So I learned how to yes. So I cook and I cook.
Wow.
Unfortunately or luckily, either way, I have 3 children that are American born who would like to eat out. They find a way to take them to go to restaurant all the time. And they kind of have their menu. They kind of have their menu in their head. The one they don't like is fufu. They don't like fufu. But fufu, they will try a way to convince me to make something else. But going back to cooking my own food, I try to, because of them, go out to restaurant at least 1 or 2 a month. I try to go out because of them. I can get a feel of that. I don't want to deny them the opportunity. And Israelis say every time I go to restaurant, family of 5, the minimum bill is $60.
That's what I'm
$70.
saying.
Every time I go.
Expensive.
Meanwhile, I'm a big, I like to eat a lot of beans. I can eat beans and rice. I can eat beans and vegetable and jama.
Really?
I can eat beans and boiled plantain. I can eat beans and fried plantain. So I have to take this call. Sorry, guys.
That's okay. That's all right.
Dr. Gorgeous?
Yeah. Talking about fufu, you know, I have a set of grandkids. They're 4, but the other one is a baby. He's about 4 months. But the first 3 that I have, right? They're Americans. Their father's an American. He's a former military major. They love that fufu. When they hear grandma's cooking fufu, no matter where they are, they'll leave what they're doing just to come and eat that fufu. Now, it's amazing how they eat so much of the fufu, but they look like sticks. There's not an ounce on those bodies.
Metabolism.
Yeah, there's not an ounce on those. But let me eat fufu twice a week, and you see me balloon like Shamu. It's amazing how the kids burn it off. But anyway, back to you, Asonglefac.
Yeah, I think eating fufu depends on your culture and your upbringing because it is the staple in my tribe. Pounded cocoyams, pounded cassava, pounded this, we don't pound plantains. We make sure we masticate the plantains with our teeth. So, but pounded fufu yam, pounded fufu cocoyam, pounded fufu cassava, those are our staples. And the only good thing in my tribe is that they don't eat with just anything. They eat mostly with vegetables or with soup cooked with cocoyam leaves. That is, they cut the fresh cocoyam leaves, slice them, and put them in this in whatever broth they are making, and we eat with that. But eating with vegetables makes a difference. The question I wanted to ask all of us is between bush meat and cow meat, that is, animals reared on the farm and animals who go into the forest. I grew up hunting.
Wow.
We used to catch those, come dry them, and then keep them and use them at home. Between bush meat, those who are not from Cameroon may not know what it is, but between bush meat and cow meat or farm-grown meat, what should we go for most?
Let me just
I will.
yeah, the wild animals for our sister.
Yeah, wild animals.
Yeah, the bushmeat, yes.
Yeah, I would like to comment on that. You know, when we had Ebola, I would trace it to the wild animals.
Yeah.
So right now in Africa, we really discourage the hunting of wild animals. That's why there's consistent reoccurrence of Ebola in DRC, because they don't want to leave them. So we don't in Africa really discourage that, especially in West Africa. Right now, we discourage wild hunting of wild animals.
So any wild animal is prohibited. It carries Ebola.
Most of them, because they're not vaccinated and things. I don't know, the monkeys and all those things.
So Ebola doesn't die from boiling. Ebola doesn't die when you boil it or you braise it or
That's
you.
the question.
No, it starts with the person who does the hunting.
Yes.
That person gets it, it's going to spread.
Okay.
Before they smoke it, before they take it smoking, somebody has already touched it. That blood begins with the person who hunts it.
Okay, I hear you.
Animal to human transmission. That's what she said.
Yeah, that's right.
Got you. All right. That makes sense. It makes sense.
Yes.
Thank you so much for that update. I didn't know that because with Ebola, I did not know that it's transmittable. I mean, from animal to human. This is something new that I've learned today. Is pardon my ignorance, but hey, it is what it is.
That's okay.
So when these okay, let me just ask this. I know you've said it's transmission from man. From animal to man or man to animal, whichever way it goes. When they cook the meat, does that kill the Ebola? Do you know?
Definitely, I think it will cook. But when it's fresh, it's transmitted. In the process of hunting it, you know.
Yeah.
No, I understand all that. Yes.
When the blood is fresh, because even the monkeypox, which is not even Ebola, it comes from those animals.
Okay.
When the women are getting, the men are getting the blood, you know, and then they are wounded.
Yeah.
It transmits from the blood from the animal to the.
Right.
Yeah, the monkeypox is one as well. There are lots of others. You know,
so what's
really
monkeypox?
Hunting of wild animals in Africa.
You're calling it monkeypox? Is that like a chicken pox?
Monkeypox. Yeah,
like
no, it's monkeypox. Really big pox. It's horrible. It's another one. It's like viral. It's really bad.
Okay.
Wow.
It's in DRC. I think Cameroon had it before as well, somewhere in Gabon or so. You know, it's common.
The border between Cameroon and Gabon and Congo, the small Congo.
Yes, somewhere.
Brazzaville. Yeah.
DRC will never stop eating and Ebola keeps occurring. I don't know.
They love their meat too much, the bush meat. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as we were saying earlier on, our topic today is cooking for $10, $1 per person. We need to learn how to use that $10 wisely so that at least the family of 10 has one full, good, nutritious, balanced, and made with love meal from either mom or dad in the house. So if you're out there and you have some of these delicious $10 recipes, we would love to hear from you. We need to help one another. We need to share that which is working for some of us in our homes. There's some of us who boil an egg and eat with a piece of bread 4 or 5 times a day, and they say they've eaten because they don't know how to cook. But when we give these new, small, sweet, with love recipes, I believe each and every one of us can at least have one scrumptious, delicious meal a day. And especially for those of you who are raising children of childbearing age, even myself as a grandmother, because the main people that have to eat these balanced meals are the young children. Some of us, as old as we are, one fruit here, piece of bread there, you're good to go. But the little ones will keep coming back 24/7. I want to snack this, I want to snack that. But if you give them one solid good meal, especially lunchtime, those kids will be fed and they will be full. We are coming to the top of the hour. I know it's 3:59. Reverend Pam, let me have you take this moment to give us updates and briefs as we go on with the program.
Before you do that, Reverend Pam, let me just take a second from those 90 seconds that you have. First of all, the breaking news is that U.S. President Donald Trump wore a mask today for the first time ever since coronavirus came. He wore it because he was visiting wounded soldiers at the Walter Reed Hospital here outside Washington, D.C. The other thing I wanted to say is Gari and peanuts and palm oil have been used in the East Province of Cameroon as a as a medication against coronavirus. I don't know how that works, but somebody sent me a video. A child mixed Gary in water, that is soaked Gary, put peanuts in it, and gave it to people, and they ate, and they said, oh, they were fine, they were no longer sick.
Oh, no.
We are not going to endorse that. That is
No.
I know, but I'm just letting the viewers know that we are not endorsing any cure or treatment of coronavirus except physical distancing, wearing mask, preventive measures, washing your hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds, or from the time you start singing happy birthday to the end, and stay a physical distancing. That's what we're encouraging. Dr. Ogoji is here. We're going to let him weigh in later on. Dr. Ogoji, from the top of the hour, we're going to be talking about our event. We just have somebody by the name of Victor, Victor's iPhone who just zoomed in. So we'll see, for courtesy purposes, as a first timer, we might give him a minute. But I want to talk about, we're at the top of the hour now. Before we talk about our event, we're going to be talking about funerals on the continent. We know prior to this pandemic, our people used to spend lavishly on funerals. The sad thing is that some people will wait till somebody dies and they start spending money, thousands of dollars to feed strangers, people that did not help them when they were growing up. So somebody say, give me the roses while I'm alive. Don't wait till I'm dead. Then you buy expensive casket or whatever. But now in this pandemic, we've heard about mass graves. I know in Cameroon, if somebody dies of coronavirus, if you don't bury them within 24 hours, the government will confiscate the corpse and bury them in a mass grave. So we're going to be talking about funerals during this pandemic. But we want to talk about our event that's coming up, and I'm glad our president is here, our chief executive editor is here, our chief fundraiser is here, our CFO, where is she? I hope she didn't run away. You know, okay, she's there. Our CFO is there. She's the person that's going to make sure every dime that is raised during this event is going to go for that purpose. We are transparent, and nobody here is going to touch the money. But initially, Madam Ambassador, I know you've been promoting this. We're going to do the event on August the 1st. However, a couple of our critical partners on the continent got ill, not with COVID, thank God. So it put us behind 2 weeks. So we want to do this right. We're going to do it Labor Day weekend on September the 6th. It's going to be a Sunday. We'll start it 1 hour before this show and use our airtime during that Sunday to raise funds for water. We found this Operation Borehole 55 is a vision that came at the end of 2016. We had a couple of people that pledged, you know, $5,000 each. We never got a dime. We're not looking for pledges, please. It's been in the queue because we did not have the funds to execute it. But however, we found out that there are healthcare facilities, several of them on the continent, that don't have running water. It doesn't even make sense. I can't imagine it. I can't fathom it. How do you take care of sick people without running water? The idea was to put water in rural communities, but we're going to start with the healthcare facilities and then go to the neighborhoods. It's called Operation Borehole 55. Digging the 55 stands for the 55 registered members of the African Union. And every member of this panel is going to weigh in on that. But we're going to be raising, it's going to be a virtual event. We're going to have the best DJ on the planet, DJ Skipper, is going to be playing live music and performing. And our co-MC is going to be the African King of Comedy, Shay Brown, out of Los Angeles. He's going to be co-moderating the event. We're going to have a couple of speakers. One of them is going to be an infectious disease specialist that's going to be talking about the need, or the waterborne diseases on the continent that are prevalent. So we want to encourage everybody. You need to be part of it, because if you don't show up, your country will not be selected. I'm going to hand over to, we're going to take turns. Nia Song, you can go last because you're going to be speaking in French. But Madam President, you take over then our chief fundraiser, Mrs. Mafani, and then Dr. Ogoji is going to weigh in. Ambassador Lisa, you're going to weigh in, and then our CFO. Over to you, Madam President.
Yes, as the chair lady has said, we are here to help raise money to go to Africa and start sinking some boreholes. Water for us here is something that we take for granted. In Africa, in most of the African countries, especially the rural areas, that's a luxury. A lot of these young girls between the ages of 6 and 10 years old have to walk for miles, 10 miles, 15 miles one way, with a 5-gallon bucket of water with their hands that way. Can you imagine yourself walking for 10 miles in this position and you're 8, 9, 10, 11 years old? Unfortunately for our children, some of them get bitten by snakes. Some of them get raped. Some of them get kidnapped. Some of them will collapse from exhaustion or hunger. So what are we as a people doing? Africa Media Online Corporation has decided to start this fundraiser, to start going into these rural areas. Like we said, we are prioritizing by first of all going to the medical facilities. And I'm sure we'll be calling upon our esteemed doctors like Dr. Ogoji to also give us identification of some of these medical facilities from the regions or the areas that he knows. But then it's imperative that each and every one of you also do your own research so that you can get resource information from the areas that we come from, not necessarily just your own country, but I'm sure even the neighboring countries. Which are the areas that need water? Which are the areas that are mostly affected, especially when it comes to the medical community? So we will be having this fundraiser September 6th, and yours truly will be live online with everybody else. So those of you who are out there and would like to participate in this fundraiser, you don't necessarily have to appear on screen if you're shy, if you don't want to, but your money is not shy. We will still take donations, we'll take contributions from you. And like the chair lady said, we have our CFO, Reverend Solange, who's online right now, who will be responsible for collecting and getting all those monies from you. So with all that said and done, let me pass that on to Miss Evelyn Mafeni.
Thank you. Sometimes in 2015, the United Nations signed Agenda 2030 for development, sustainable development programs. And they identified 17 SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. The 6th one, SGD number 6, is to ensure availability and sustainability of water and sanitation for all. And it has a critical indicator that by 2030, there should be achieve a universal, equitable access to safe and affordable drinking water for all. However, this is not the situation in Africa. Right now, we have 9 countries that are very critical, that have large populations that do not have access to water. For example, Eritrea, up to 80%, over 80% of the population does not have access to water. They lack water. Somalia is 60%. Ethiopia is about 60. Uganda is about 60 as well. Chad, Niger, DRC, Angola, and so on. And even mighty Nigeria, it's over 30%. So we see the situation in Africa, it's really, really serious. And right now in the world, for 29%, which is for every 3 persons, 1 does not have access to safe drinking water, which is a population of about 2.1 billion. Most of them come from Africa. And 1.2 million people die every year for disease related to lack of water, which is quite a problem. Most of them are from Africa. Before COVID, we had about 2.2 billion people in the world that lack water, clean water. And for every 5 facilities in the world, 2 of them will not have water and soap. And what is the implication here? The implication here is that with the COVID, it means about 3 billion people in the world, most of them from Africa, do not have homes, do not have hand washing facilities. How do we fight COVID? Whereas the most efficient method for COVID prevention is hand washing. And we have so many millions of households that do not have water. So we need money enough to help the situation in Africa. If we present the map to you, it's embarrassing. You see the situation for sub-Saharan Africa, it's really pitiful that most of our homes, most houses do not have access to water. So we'll be coming up with more data, more information to let us see that it's a big problem in Africa In the world, Africa is #1 country that really lacks water. Africa, #1 continent, sorry, where we really lack water, especially sub-Saharan Africa. I would like to leave the northern part, the sub-Saharan Africa. It's where we really have issues. So we'll be fundraising to see how we can get a couple of boreholes to some of these countries. For most countries that even have the water, this water that I talk about, they are wells, hand-dug wells. For most countries, they have lots and lots of hand-dug wells. That gets dry during the rainy season, during the dry season. So we see the problem of water, it's even more critical now that we have COVID. COVID has not come to go soon. It's something we may have to live with for who knows how many decades. So I'll end here and maybe a colleague can add. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. I guess we will go to Ambassador.
And then the CFO.
Your Excellency.
Oh,
Ma'am, yes, ma'am. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be talking about. We're talking about
Your take on water. We are fundraising for boreholes for Africa.
Now, when I'm in Africa, I'm not had the occasion of being in the village per se. I guess I'd say I'm in a town, but I've not been to the. I know that the situation for water is desperate. As I've watched these children going, like I said, with that bucket on their head, going and don't see them come back for hours with a little bit of water. So we definitely need water. I was looking while we were talking about water. I remember, does anybody know about life straws? Anybody heard about the life straw?
No.
Life straws came out, I guess maybe, I've been going to Africa 15 years, I guess about 15 years ago. And it's a straw that the children or whoever can drink even from the dirty rivers and lakes. And the water is filtered through the filter in the straw, and they're able to get clean drinking water from it. Now I'm looking at their website now, and they have spare filters. They have a water bottle that the straw goes in, and then they have a life straw home where they can put that same river water through it, and it becomes purified, and they drink from that as well. And that's been one of my concerns as well, because I know too many people that get sick with typhoid. Even though they're boiling the water, it's still, you boil the water and you pour it off, and then you're still pouring off the germs and diseases into whatever it is that you put to drink. So I'm all on board. I'm all in favor of boreholes in Africa, wherever it is that we have to put them.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Reverend Solange, our CFO, you still on there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Please go ahead.
Everyone has said the importance and the necessity why we're doing this fundraising, and it's water, and water is life. And as our sister said, Africa is really lacking behind. The statistics is really alarming. The lack of water statistics all over Africa. It's a crying shame. And I just want to encourage everyone that wants to do something for this fundraising. A lot of times people are like, okay, we've raised funds for water for this. There's been no accountability. Who is heading this project? Who is doing this? But I mean, they say in life there are no guarantees, but I can guarantee that as CFO of this organization, whatever funds we're going to raise will be properly channeled towards borehole 55 to make sure we have clean water in these medical facilities in Africa, and hopefully extend it to the villages in Africa. Because if we say we're going to keep places clean, sanitize, wash our hands, we cannot do that without water. And we're talking about COVID. What about typhoid? What about the malaria and all those things? Sometimes some of those things is because of cholera, lack of clean water. So I'm going to promise transparency. We're going to, at the end of the year, this is a 501c organization. We're going to send out letters to donors so they can use it to file their tax return come 2021. Because some like, is this tax deductible? And all that? Yes, it is tax deductible. So I'm going to encourage everyone, please do not feel like, oh, maybe I don't know what this money is going to be used for. It's going to be channeled properly. So come out and support this event.
Thank you so very much. Before I let Dr. Ogoji take over the floor, I just wanted to mention one very important thing. For any donors or any people who contribute $5,000 plus, your names will be engraved on the bowl holes, HOLES. Those who give $5,000 plus on this fundraiser, during this fundraiser, after this fundraiser, especially before the boreholes are built, your name or the name of your organization or whatever name you give it under will be on the borehole once it's created. Thank you. Dr. Ogoji?
Well, I was talking about feeding your family with $10. I'll talk about that first and talk about water. So one of the recipes I generally do at my house is homemade burritos.
Oh,
which
Lord.
again, I just buy the chapati or the flatbread from the store. I buy that from the store. But you just make some jollof rice, plenty of beans, one chicken quarter. I usually buy a bag of a 10-pound chicken every weekend, and I grill them for salad. But I take just 2 or 3 chicken quarters and take out all the shredded chicken, then the salad, then the lettuce, and then the mild sauce. So there's beans, there's small rice, there's chicken, and there's mild sauce. There are some avocados and pepper for those who want pepper. This is one of my kids' favorite meal. And the chicken quarter is less than $1. It's more. In fact, everything. If I cost them, it costs me less than $6. And if I'm not 5, we'll have a homemade burrito, and everybody will like. We're happy. There's chicken. There is beans. That's a protein. There's some rice. There's some vegetable, and then other spices based on what you want. I always add avocado for I like avocado a lot. Add avocado, add some green peppers personally. So that's one of my homemade recipes. Of course, every Saturday I call it homemade burgers, but I buy the frozen burgers from the store and I grill it myself. And so I do my own grilling of the burger. That's standard meal every Saturday for my kids. If I go to cash and carry, or you buy a 10-pound burger for $30, it comes each of them is 3 burgers per pound. That gives me 30 burgers. So I take 5 every day, family of 5 of them with lettuce, green peppers, onion, and bread. And those are the 2 things I make at home for my kids, and they all love it. And of course, fufu when I want to make them mad,
Okay.
Then
water. We're running out of time, so talk
going
about
back to water. I mean, water is a very important. It's a necessity. It's like food. It's like air. It's life. In Africa generally, also in Nigeria specifically, there's acute shortage of water. And in my place where I live in the village, I have a borehole in my house, which it cost me about $3,000 to sink. But it's locked right now because I'm not home. Every Christmas I come back home, I open the tap water, it flows out. People take for free. People are buying water every time. When I'm home, my neighbors don't buy water. They just get water for free when I'm there. But that's in my village. In a city like Owerri, so water borehole with $500 to get a borehole. So it depends on the water level where you are. In my village, it's 30 minutes away. It's about $3,000 to $4,000 to get a borehole. In the city of Owerri, it's just about $500 to get a borehole. So, and when you have water, people are happy. There's increased hygiene. There's less diseases. There's more health. So for this fundraiser, I'll be part and parcel of it. I will definitely contribute my own videos, when the time comes, to make it a reality.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Doctor, and everybody else that has spoken. I'll now revert to Nia Song, from Nia Song to Reverend Pam, and then we have Nia Song come and close us out. Brother Nia Song, you still there?
Merci beaucoup, madame. Je suis enchanté de parler dans une autre langue. Donc, Africa Online Media Corporation organisera une collecte de fonds en septembre pour financer des forages dans les anciens pays d'Afrique. Vous êtes invités à être participants, à donner ce que vous pouvez pour que ce coup de cœur puisse nous aider à creuser ces forages dans les 55 pays d'Afrique. Merci beaucoup et à la prochaine. Je suis toujours là pour Africa Online Media Corporation. Sister Sylvia, thank you very much. And let's go to switch and go on to Reverend Pam, I think.
Yes, Reverend Pam, please.
Yeah, thank you, Nia Song. And I'm not going to say thank you in French, but I know how to say that much. But, a couple of things we are going to be having, we've been doing some work behind the scenes. Sister Evelyn is here. We're expecting our marketing director to join us, but he's not able to join us. But we're going to be hearing directly from an engineer on the continent. That is going to tell us exactly the cost. We're not just going to dig a borehole without the power to power the pump. We don't want to put the borehole there's like giving somebody a key to a Rolls-Royce Phantom, and giving them a Rolls-Royce Phantom without the key. They need the key to start it. So we are going to be getting a hearing from an engineer on the ground exactly what it's going to cost. It's going to cost more than $5,000 because we are actually going to attach solar panels to go with each borehole to power the solar panel, so we're not depending on the government or any other source of electricity. The other thing we want to encourage everybody is send us a video of the water challenges in your village. We want current videos, and on that video you need to introduce yourself and specifically say that video is being shot for Africa Online Media Corporation's Operation Borehole 55 fundraiser. You need to specify it there that you're doing that video for this fundraiser. So everybody out there, send us, and you can send that video. You can either send it to info@africaonlinetv.org or inbox it to us through our Facebook page. Again, send that video. The video needs to be less than 5 minutes, preferably 3 minutes. Do a video of the water challenges. We want to see the reality of the water problem, the current one. We don't want to use any outdated. We don't want to use any outdated videos. We have somebody that just joined by the name of Busey. Busey, yes. We can give you a minute to. I'm not sure what is going on here. Something is going on with the. I don't know what happened. Busey, we're going to give you a minute to talk about either water challenges on the continent or cooking your own food. We have 8 minutes left, so you can unmute yourself and speak if you're joining about. We want to give you the airway since you just joined us. So we're going to hand over to Busey. Busey, it's all yours. Unmute yourself, please, if you want to say something. Busey, do you want to say something or you just want to listen? Unmute yourself.
I think she's just listening. She's one of my guests. She just texted me to say.
No, she just unmuted. Yeah, you want to say something?
I'll just be so quick. I'll just say hello because I'm doing some other work.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining. Let me quickly recap what I just said, and then I'll hand over to Nia. So again, this fundraiser is very, very important. You heard from our CFO. I want to assure you 100%. Of the 100% of the donation is going to go toward that borehole and the associated solar panel with that borehole. Nothing is going to be deducted. And again, we have people on the grounds. All of them are not on this show, but our chief fundraiser, Mrs. Mafani, is on this show. 100% of that is going to go toward that. I'll also let the Madam President, who is in charge of the PR, talk about how to place your ad. Please, we don't want to hear any complaint about money. Every one of us here have access to water. Again, we are starting with water for healthcare facilities. We are telling people, a lot of people have raised funds for PPEs. That's not what we are doing. You can have all the PPEs you want. If the healthcare facilities don't have running water, people are still going to get infected. COVID, with typhoid, with cholera, and other waterborne diseases. So send us that video. I'm gonna Nia Song, I'll hand over to you. But if Madam President, who is handling the PR, can quickly say something before you, Nia Song, take the last round.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
Yes. We're also getting some paid ads. And remember, like Reverend Pam said, we also are all of us are short of money, but we're managing what we can. We need to come forth. We have done the PPEs, like she said. Now let's talk about water. PPEs are not effective without that water, because we'll still touch our faces with that with our dirty hands. So with that being said and done, we do have some paid ads. If you're interested in setting up an ad with us, please send me a 1-minute ad or a 1-minute video of your organization, your company, or if it's you as an individual, and then we will discuss the cost of how much it will cost you to advertise. Remember, the money that we're charging you is not going into our pockets, but going towards the sinking of boreholes throughout the 55 nations of Africa. So please don't think that this money is coming to me because I'm the one speaking. I am responsible for the PR for our fundraising campaign. Therefore, you will hear my mouth talking about this quite a bit. So please donate generously, contribute generously to this. It's for the continent. It's not for one individual. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much. And we're going to take a round of the table to see what we have left on our minds about cooking your own food, sharing your recipe, and of course, contributing towards those boreholes in Africa. Your Excellency, I don't know if you are still there with us. If you are, please say your last word on this program. It has been a pleasure coordinating today, as always. And
Amen.
Your Excellency, say something so that we can get around.
Okay, I have enjoyed you as the moderator. I enjoyed listening to your voice, and especially when you begin to speak in French. You're speaking French, correct? Or some dialect of French. To all of my sisters and our gentlemen, I am praying for our constant development, our constant connection, our constant growth and development as we move forward with just being able to help those of us who are still on the continent. We here in the diaspora are not thinking that we have it all made and that we've got it all going on and we can forget about where we come from. So I want to applaud you all for having this forum, for having this ideal of the brain bank. And thank you for inviting me and allowing me to be a part and have something to say.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. We're going to go to Reverend Solange.
Reverend Solange, unmute yourself, please. We have 4 minutes. Time is running out.
CFO. Are you taking a nap, CFO? Where are you?
Reverend Solange, okay, let's go to somebody else because of time.
Okay, we're going to go over to Evelyn. She's already.
Yeah, for me, I will just encourage that we get videos from countries like Niger, Eritrea, Somalia, Ethiopia, DRC, Chad. These are countries that are very, very in desperate need of water. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Ogoji.
Well, I would agree that borehole without power is no borehole. The reason why the borehole in my house is not running now because I don't want people to mess with my power. So borehole, so it's a very important project, especially for healthcare facility, because there's a popular saying that hospitals stinks. It stinks in Africa because there is no power, there's no water. So if we have water, it will solve many of the diseases, including infection. Infection is the biggest killer before COVID. Infections, surgical infections, simple infections, and community awareness and health depend on clean water. That's a wonderful project.
Reverend Pam, we'll come over to you.
Yes, Dr. Ogoji, thank you so much. As a physician who's practiced on the continent and 3 other continents, you are speaking from experience. Yes, we're going to do this. This is the time. We're going to do it this time. And we don't want any pledges. Please, no pledges. We don't have paid staff. We don't have time to be following people, you know, to collect money. You know, put your money where your mouth is. You'll get a tax write-off. We don't have anybody that's going to be chasing you to collect the money. And those who, again, we have a preliminary code, but I don't want to announce it yet. I want it to come from the mouth of the engineer. So Evelyn, I'm sure you will make sure that engineers on this show next Sunday, you know, to talk about the actual cost of the borehole and the solar panel connected to that borehole. Niason.
Thank you so very much. And I think I've done the round of the table. If I left you out, please let me know. Did I leave out anybody?
Well, our guest, I don't know if she wants to say something, you know.
I think you got everybody.
Anybody else?
Okay.
Okay. All right. So it has been a pleasure, as always, being with you today. Cook your own food. Share your recipes when you do, or if you have one, but you don't want to cook, but you want to share. And let's cook our own food. Eat healthy, keep our shape, and live long. Thank you all so much. And remember, next week, we're going to be talking about the cost of funerals on our continent. Is it really worth the while to pay so much when somebody dies rather than paying for him when he's alive? Is it better to let somebody die, then you spend 300,000 francs, or you spend the 300,000 francs while he's alive, keep him well for a little longer, and while he's here with us? So please take care, clean your boxes, delete stuff from your devices, and please, if you know somebody that inadvertently posts something on our platform, tell that person to desist, because this past week was very challenging, and we just want to say we thank all of you for your fidelity, and please, let's be healthy, let's cook our own food, let's eat our own food, let's share our recipes, and let's be healthy, and may God bless all of us. Thank you all very much.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.